This, right, I'm recording this. I invented DCVG in Nigeria in the mid-1970s and incorporated it into CIPS in the early 1980s while working for the Gas Council of the UK. I have complete documentary and photographic evidence of these claims. DCVG stands for Direct Current Voltage Gradient. CIPS stands for Close Interval Potential Survey. I invented the Alexander cell because it was impossible to determine if we have stopped corrosion using two survey methods above. And pipelines were failing while they met the criteria published by NACE and ICOR. NACE stands for the National Association of Corrosion Engineers, which is based in Houston, Texas, the USA, and is a commercial organization that is selling certificates of membership and courses, and they charge a lot of money for these, and the courses are not science-based. ICOR is the Institute of Corrosion, and it was started in the UK by a guy called Tim French Mullins, and it was called then the Institute of Corrosion Science and Technology. And I was in his office whilst he was discussing the formation of the Institute. So I know that this is a fact. Now, there is a short video which proves how cathodic protection actually works, and it differs from the hypothesis proposed by established specialists. Now, I hope I can get the video up and show it now. Sharing. Share screen. Screen. Share. And oops.
This is how cathodic protection works. Here we have 4 pipes that are all connected together, and they are corroding, as you can see by the corrosion products. And this is a half cell, copper sulfate half cell connected to this meter showing 0.503. This is a corrosion cell, and you can see the corrosion current here, which is negative direction at 20.68 microamps. The corrosion cell is connected to all the pipelines, so it's all part of one system. There is a transformer rectifier which is connected to the ground. The positive charges go into the ground, and the negative charges are drawn from this pipe, which is connected to all the others. So this is all one system. And when I switch on the transformer rectifier, you will see that this immediately stops corroding, and the charges go in the opposite direction. When I switch it off, you will see that the charges immediately start, the corrosion starts again. Now, I will show you that again. Cathodic protection on, and the charges reversed. Cathodic protection off. and the charges continue to corrode. This is how
Right, now, back to my script, one moment. Share screen, share screen. Oh, this is starting to work. Right. You've seen the short video, and now I will explain some of the science behind what we're doing. Energy has been studied and codified into science for the past few centuries, beginning with Isaac Newton through Albert Einstein to Stephen Hawking and the scientists involved with the Large Hadron Collider that is presently functioning at CERN in order to test the hypotheses relating to particle physics. Isaac Newton studied forces, not energy. The force that he studied was the force of gravity and the effect it had on bodies, masses, stars, and planets. Albert Einstein actually based his observations on Isaac Newton's work and observations about life. And he looked at the space in relation to time. So in other words, it was distance away, or the distance from one point to another, in relation to the time that was passing all the time. So he said that the light which was coming from distant stars would take time to get to the observer on Earth. And through his observations, he hypothesized that, in fact, gravity would bend the light which was coming from its source, a distant star, and it was coming to the observer on Earth. As it passed other stars, the light would be bent by the gravity acting on the light itself. He therefore envisaged his theories of relativity and special relativity, and he wrote them down in scientific notation, which is sort of formula and equations and that sort of thing, a way of expressing things to other scientists that would explain his reasoning. And he reasoned that space itself was actually bent. It was capable of being flexed. And there's many pictures on the internet about how this is. And his famous equation was E equals mc squared. And this is where the energy bit comes in, because energy is the E, which is related to the mass, which is the m, and C is squared, but C is a relationship. It is speed, which is distance covered in time. So in fact, the equation E equals mc squared is not quite as simple as most people think. And this is what gets people confused. Now, when Stephen Hawking came to examine all this lot, he had very clear thinking, and he wrote a book, which is very worthwhile reading, and it's called A Brief History of Time. And this relates to the time that passes between events. So as I'm speaking now, time is passing, and that time that I spoke a few seconds ago is in the past. And the time that I'm speaking in now is in series with that time in the past. And he describes series of events and how time, the essence of time, cannot be linear because it's not like in series in electrical terms, because it goes from event to event, and each event is a cone. There are cones of events. And the only way to visualize this is to visualize time as expansion. Now, this fits in with what we know of the universe. The universe is expanding. So we now have Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, and Stephen Hawking have actually described what is happening, and they have described what is happening that is caused by the universal laws of the universe. And these universal laws are being codified and described by the scientists who are presently working at CERN and all the other research that's going on by scientists all over the world. So that's the background. So we know a lot more now than we did when corrosion engineering started in the 1930s. Corrosion is an electrochemical reaction that involves energy, chemicals, and metal. Cathodic protection utilizes our knowledge of energy to control this reaction and is an exact science that is used every day to control batteries that are essential in all electronic devices. A battery is a corrosion cell. The Alexander cell is a corrosion cell, and this is what ties cathodic protection network science together. Cathodic protection network is all of the metal in pipelines, overhead power lines, steel piles lining canals, railway tracks, and other conductive paths that cover the whole world. The study of cathodic protection must include all sources of electrical energy, such as sunspot activity, geomagnetic energy, man-made sources, and telluric effects. We can only see rust, the corrosion product. That is all we can see. And that takes a little bit of time to develop. But we need to observe and measure electrical energy. And to do this, we use instruments. We therefore need to understand that we cannot measure electrical potential, but only the difference between two electrical potentials. We call them voltages. This is very important for all corrosion studies and corrosion engineers to understand. We need to know that there can be no such thing as zero potential, because the free energy in the universe would fill any void. Gibbs free energy describes this, if you want the science behind it. It follows that there can be no such thing as a negative energy. And this makes the criteria for cathodic protection misleading and deceptive. In this white paper, I prove that we can control corrosion using science and computerization. But we need a complete team of people who understand the global reality that is imposed upon us by the universal laws of nature. This is a completely different way of addressing the problem of corrosion, and corrosion costs billions, ruins the environment, and endangers life and the economy. Stop share.
Subscribe for more content.